Hey, what's up guys? Nate here. Welcome back to Sonic Academy. Today we're going to be checking out a brand new loop library or sample pack from Sonic Academy. This is Ultimate Percussion Loops. It's really going to be kind of really useful for people writing sort of deep house, right through to melodic techno, even techno stuff. There's some great percussion loops in here, all sort of tempo ranges from around 120 to 135. It's going to have you cover sort of high-end or high percussion as well as the sort of mid-range stuff. Bongos, toms, that kind of thing. They're ideal for kind of layering behind beats that you are doing, just to kind of add that extra dimension and that bit of chunkiness you need from an actual loop. So they've been treated quite nicely as well. So they've got a bit of vibe and a little bit of groove to them as well. So I think the best way to take a look at these is to actually just build a little drum loop here. So let's dive in. We're going to check this out. Right, so we're going to put together a quick little loop. I'm also going to show you a couple of little extra little tricks that you can do, especially in Bitwig as well, that kind of help with like auditioning, stuff like this. We're going to take a listen to a bunch of these loops together. Let's first start off and open up a drum machine here. I'm going to just load up an instance of Kick 3 here. Make sure we have plugins selected there. There we go. So let's just grab a preset first. I'm going to go into the preset menu here and we'll look at melodic house and techno. I think that'll do. Maybe we'll just shorten this up slightly. Let's just grab the amp. Maybe we'll just grab these. Nice punchy kick. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and record some of this in. We'll just bump the... I'm also going to just turn the metronome on and we'll bump the tempo up to around 124 here. Okay, so we've got a kick and let's bring in some stuff to Audition now. So if you've got a little pad controller like this, I'm going to show you a pretty interesting or pretty cool way that you can kind of run through these loops nicely. We'll take a look. Everything's kind of divided up here into sort of bongo stuff. We've also got hi-hat loops here. So let's take these first. We'll go with these, and they're all sort of 4-bar loops, these as well. We can drag these in. You'll see what happens in Bitwig as it kind of loads up different channels for all of these now. I also forgot to make sure that they are going to be imported at the project tempo. My default is to import it raw. There's a couple of little key modifiers here which are really handy for this situation. If you hold down the Alt key, it's going to force these into the project tempo, so it'll make sure that they are automatically time synced and everything. But if you hold down the opposite Alt, this one here, is going to force them all onto the same channel, which is pretty handy because you can bring these in now onto the clip launcher here. We'll just let go there. Let's turn off the arranger first, and this is just a really cool way to kind of mix and match your audio samples to find something that works. We'll take this into the low percussion as well, maybe. And maybe even some of the modular loops here as well. Okay, and we're not going to go through every single sample here, but you can see where I'm going with this. It's just a really easy way to kind of figure out nice combinations of loops here. Might not even need that much stuff as well. There's tons in here. Ooh, I quite like this as well. May use that one, and let's just see what we come up with. Once you've got them laid up in here now, it's pretty easy to kind of just play around with these. We can just start this off here. Let's turn off the metronome. Quite like the ones in the beginning there. Let's move into some of the other percussion. I like that. quite a bit of overlap between the styles here with these low percussions. So some of them are the modular loops and the I think it was the low perk loops that we got. Yeah, so the low perk loops. What you could do for some interest here as well is to keep these running together, yeah, and maybe just to keep the stereo information. You could use a dual panner to play around with this. Sometimes a little bit more natural, actually. So let's just delete that. We'll take this channel and we'll pan this channel's left, hard left. We'll leave its right in the center. Then we'll take this dual pan, we'll chuck it on this one, and we'll do the opposite. We'll leave that one's left in the center, and we'll pan the hard right all the way right. So the right channel is all the way on the right. And take a listen now, and we can just set that to play again. Getting some really nice stereo movement there. You might want to be careful of that with the sort of low-end percussion, though. It might actually be better to kind of keep it a little bit more mono. So let's just play around with some of these instead, maybe all the mid-percussion ones. Yeah, you might get some interesting stuff happening with these, and just maybe try that again with those two I actually quite like as well. Let's just play around with those two. I actually really like that groove that we've got going there now. If you want to do that from here as well, instead of rather re-importing this again, you just need to go in and just set this up. You'll see by default it's brought it in as raw here. Set that to Elastic Pro rather. Now there's also a little bit too much in the hi-hats here, so maybe let's actually just remove some of the hi-hats from these parts by slicing it up. We've pretty much settled on what we've got, you know, so let's maybe remove this channel. We'll just remove this stuff as well, because we've got our selection that we're happy with now. And let's come back to our range page again. Let's thin out these hats a little bit, because I quite like the sort of chunkiness of the shaker here, but we want to kind of just maybe get a little bit of an offbeat hat from this one. These loops do tend to slice quite nicely as well, so we can just come down to slice, and let's go to slice to drum machine in this case. We can use onsets for this, so let's just go onsets. We don't need to do the full 4 bars. We could actually probably limit the amount of slices to even 8 or 16 would fill up a drum pad for you, but let's even just limit that to 8. We'll go there. We've now got a drum kit here, so we can actually program those hi-hats in. We won't need the original MIDI here, we can actually just... we'll just take a listen here. We're going to isolate those shakers, I quite like those. And just to make sure that we're not getting too many clicks here as well, we can isolate those shakers again. Now we're done with those, so we can just keep those muted for now. So sometimes you may want to just tweak the decay times on this. You can see it's just kind of getting... We could either just move that back slightly, or you could also switch this over to a shot mode and then just have it fade out towards the end. And let's go back to the beginning and check that out. Maybe do the same as well for a clap sample. You'd be able to find some stuff in the mid percussion loop section here too. There we go. So these are kind of more fleshed out loops, these. Oh, I quite like that. I'll bring that one in. And in this case, I may even just manually do this in audio. Sometimes they can also be quite nice to work just in audio here. And it's Bitwig's pretty proficient when it comes to grabbing things in audio like this too. Because we could also then just do a little bit of manual edits with this too. And in case you didn't know that you can actually use operators with this too. Let's say, for instance, we do something like this. Let's reverse this one. But we don't want that happening every single time. We probably want to just bring down the volume of this one slightly as well. We can use operators on audio events as well. So this one we could say maybe every sort of fourth beat, whatever, that we just have that reverse. I'm probably going to want to just tighten some of this stuff up as well. These ones, for example, I may do something like sidechain these up a little bit. Chainer, yeah, and I'm just going to go and select the original drum machine that we had here, kick 3 post. There we go. Then just copy this over to our other drum parts as well. Maybe take these two. And these ones are kind of shuffled a little bit, this one. You can actually do audio quantizing on this as well. If we go over to Quantize and just Quantize audio here, we want to keep those straight and with 0 shuffle as well. Do the same with this one as well if we want. So that's without actually having to slice these down. We'll just stretch them out. You could then treat these two together as a single entity in the track, and then just kind of bring in a compressor, maybe compress them a little bit together. And bring that sidechain over here too. Cut a little bit of the lows off on that one. Bit of bass going on there. I'll just compress these hits that we have down a little bit as well. Just make those nice and short. Actually, I quite like the. So pretty easy to kind of throw a bunch of these loops together, cut out some of them, slice some of them up, and kind of find these combinations that work nicely just to come up with a groove really quickly like this. You could also play around with kind of adding a little bit more shuffle back now that we've done the quantization for these. I'll show you one last little thing here. We'll grab just another preset from here just to play around with. Maybe the Plucks. Let's see what happens here. We'll take that. Just find a section of this to grab. We'll go from here. So some of this percussion stuff is quite nice as a trigger source as well sometimes too. So maybe something like the bongos. Once again, quantize this. I'm going to bring down the filter here, and we'll bring in a modulator. We're going to use a audio sidechain in. And we're going to select the output of this audio 11 channel here. So we'll go audio 11 pre-fader, which means that we can then turn down the audio for that. We don't actually want that bongo coming through. But you can see I've got a signal coming from there through the sidechain now, which is being converted into control data. We could select like which part of the bongos we want to use as well. So we're essentially kind of just extracting the groove as data that we can use to control other stuff. So let's bring this in on our filter now. Pretty interesting, that. And lastly, let's just find our sidechain again. We'll drop that onto the bass as well as our pads. Let's take a listen to what we have now. There you go. Pretty cool little groove, that, and pretty much just using a single kick 3, bunch of interesting loops from the Ultimate Percussion Loops from Sonic Academy, as well as Anna 2. That's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little quick demo. There's tons of cool stuff in there. Go check it out, and I will catch you soon here at Sonic Academy. Till then, take care. Cheers.